New study suggests overhead triceps extensions build more muscle than pushdowns. Worth noting for those who skipped the article, it's important to note that this small study found that overhead extensions helped promote muscle growth compared to pushdowns, not that overhead extensions were the better exercise for your triceps overall. And there's no evidence suggesting that overhead extensions and triceps pushdowns can be a part of your routine. Remember that both movements increased strength equally in the participants. Overhead extensions helped promote muscle growth compared to pushdowns. Both movements increased strength equally in the participants. Equal improvement in strength, but a greater improvement in muscle growth. I was under the impression that strength was directly proportional to muscle size. Am I way off in that assumption, or am I not understanding the note? ETA. Eye-opening replies, thanks folks. Removed. Removed. The hardest exercises you hate often are the most effective. I hear. Removed. 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 If you could only pick one tricep exercise, what would it be? For me, it would be dips. Skull crushers. I actually really like seated overhead triceps extensions. Make a diamond hole with your palms holding the dumbbell on one end and just extend your triceps. Don't use your shoulders or forearms. Just use your triceps to make weight go up until full extension. Feels great and it's pretty fun. And great close grip bench form. As a physical therapy aide, student, and personal trainer, I have often seen triceps dips lead to rotator cuff and anterior shoulder damage. They can be great if you maintain proper form, but I generally prefer cable tricep extensions or other extensions that place less stress on the anterior aspect front of the shoulder. Just something to keep in mind when you do dips. Honestly, from my experience, a drop set of rope pull downs, but since that's the disputed workout in this article, then tricep kickbacks with pulleys or dumbbells. Kay Green had stated his favorite tricep workout was the dumbbell kickback, and personally I see why. Straight fire in the tris when done right. Dips. I got really good at dips without realizing it, was more interested in other stuff, but always made sure always did dips, then years later realized my body weight was too easy and tried a 45 around my waist, still easy, and added a 25. Kept doing that and my arms exploded in like 2 weeks. Also me chest and back. Best workout ever. I love some super narrow push-ups. Toe dips or weighted bar dips are more than enough. Dips on rings because you have to stabilize and it does force your hand position. Removed. 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 The problem with overhead that people aren't recognizing is the unhealthy strain it places upon the elbow joint, especially at higher resistance. Just like leg extension, the joint isn't designed to take strain in that position. It's not that it's a worse extension. It just strains the joint in a bad way for long-term health. The jaw well, for the yellow, the this is at least partially countered by the fact the weights were usually lower in the overhead position, yet they still produced 40 more muscle growth. Once the 12 weeks were up, researchers found that the participants grew stronger on each exercise, but that there was around a 1.4 fold or 40 increase in triceps growth in the arms that performed the overhead extension compared to the pushdowns. This happened even though the overhead extensions usually involved lighter weight. What I'm more shocked by is that you can literally feel when the tension and stress are applied in an unnatural way. Maybe it's because I have always been an athlete, but when an exercise is overloading a joint, I make adjustments or stop doing it because it will lead to inflammation. That is distinctly different than muscle soreness. Can you explain how? I'm under the impression that raising your shoulder overhead into flexion does not place any extra strain compared to elbow extension with the humerus in neutral. The amount of compression at the joint should change comparing pushdowns to overhead because the torque is still the same. I have that condition where the ulnar nerve slips out of its groove, and this position 100 makes that so much worse. This is actually not the case with leg extensions. A seated leg extension is ideal for isolating the quads and is definitely safe. I use it all the time for rehabbing patellar tendinopathy. Source: am a third-year student. Edit: I realize this is a garbage source. These guys write a pretty good article on the topic with resources cited for you to check out if you wish. Or that rehab gives. Comores. The knee extension machine. Safe. 2. Usor. Can you not spread myths that cultivate fear of movement, please? At the end of the day, it just makes it harder for people to get active. It's already hard enough. Sure, if a person has bad joints already, some exercises could make it worse. But in a healthy population, there are no exercises that are straight up bad for you right out of the gate. Weird cause skull crushers and French press hurt me, but overhead tricep extensions feel really good. Recent research states that knee extension on a machine are not inherently bad for you. It all depends on how much you load your knees and what rate you load them at. The same goes for overhead positions. Need to build up your body's capacity to be able to handle a particular load in a specific position. A possible solution to this would be to do lower weights or higher reps so that there's less overloading of the joints. It's obvious that overhead would cause faster muscle gain because 99% of people doing pull-downs are putting at least some body weight in it because it's really easy to cheat with. But you're right, you can't cheat as much with overhead, but poor form is detrimental. You might get more strength, but painful joints. You can do it right though. Stabilize your elbow with your offhand, concentrate on isolating your triceps, and don't go too heavy. It's an exercise to be done with lighter weight to exhaustion. Removed. Removed. Any exercise that puts the most tension in the stretched position tends to build muscle better than loading the shortened position. Nothing unknown here. That's not entirely true. There are muscles that don't respond better to stretched positions. In fact, triceps and biceps are among them, so that's why this is interesting. Directly contradicts previous studies. Edit. It'll save the time in responding individually. Here are some studies that suggest that some muscle groups don't respond maximally to a fully lengthened position. Or Mapai. Or 2411. 5142 or 3 or 2 or 28. Or pubmed. Impai. Nai. Gov or 32,823,490 or hates. Or pubmed. Impai. Nai. Gov or 33,977,835 or. That dost really seem applicable. Especially if you are using the rope for your pushdowns. You should be getting full extension out of them. If not, that's more of a choice than a disadvantage to the workout. I like overhead extensions with a rope because they work out my neck. Got in a car crash years ago and tore a bunch of the muscles that attach to your neck vertebra. Had headaches for nearly 2 years until I started doing these. Even with physical therapy, I kept getting head itches admittedly sucked at doing rigorously. Then, a year after giving up on it, I discovered these. Head itches went away. Also, only 21 participants. What is it with these studies and low sample sizes? Every time you get a new kettlebell, you can max out the bell grip overhead extension pretty quickly. It tends to be the workout that becomes the easiest, the quickest. I find the opposite. I do both exercises on the same day and I increase pushdowns all the time, but overheads are always an ongoing nightmare at the same weight as ever. I do overhead extensions, but with dumbbells. Is this functionally the same exercise? No longer have access to a cable rig. Edit. Standing overhead extensions, dumbbells. I think skull crushers would be more equivalent. Would be more a skull crush will show be show. You are losing load at the top using dumbbells where the cable would keep pulling. They work different heads off the tricep, so who cares? If you want to grow the long or inner head, do overhead extensions. If you want to grow the short or outer head, to pushdowns. I was looking for someone to say this. Thank you. You. Overheads work the muscle better because they hit the long head, which is the bulk of what comprises your triceps. Pushdowns hit a different, smaller muscle, so they add less strength and bulk. I think anyone who is a serious lifter or knows physiology should already know this. It's nothing new. That top comment and its reply is a debate over long range of short range movements on the tricep. Why not include both? Removed. Several studies have indicated starting extensions with the long head fully stretched builds triceps mass the best. The form showed by the guy in the video with the article is actually very poor. The same principle works with the biceps long head, and studies have shown great results with the incline biceps curl. Doing skull crushers with a curl bar is the best tricep exercise. These close grip bench dips blew up my tris. Eka elbow destroyers. So don't take exercise advice from Redditors or TikTok. It's also the tricep exercise most likely to lead to tendonitis. Source: 20 years of weight training myself and others and experiencing it firsthand. Yes, though I hate calling them skull crushers as it encourages bad form. Don't hold your upper arm straight, let it drift back and let the lats help. If you want to isolate, use dumbbells or cables. It's really not. Well, they target the long head, right? So it makes sense for the same stimulus they'd build more muscle. Removed. 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 What flavor of Doritos pairs best with this knowledge? I've been telling people this for years. Also, it's hard to do pushdowns without engaging shoulder muscles. Triceps extensions are much easier to isolate the triceps with. I'm much more interested how your Namobo has posted 25 links a day but has made a comment in 4 years. Removed. Removed. Form and slow speed is your key. Control builds strength or mass. Any other exercises that are better than other exercise? I'm pretty new at training. Stick to the basics for the most part. Always include squat, bench, deadlift, some form of barbell rows and pull-ups in your training. Most of your gains come from these lifts, so make sure you do them right and continue to get stronger. For accessories, choosing the optimal movement pattern is really unnecessary for beginners as long as you are providing stimulus and avoiding injury. Obviously, avoid downright bad exercises.